I'm gonna tell you guys the story of how I failed my very first medical school exam. So I spent the 6 months prior to medical school living in Italy. I lived in Italy for 4 or 5 months because I graduated undergrad 6 months early. I just really enjoyed myself, lived in Italy, met a lot of people, traveled around. Don't regret that at all, obviously, it was wonderful. But needless to say, I think I just forgot how to study. And so when I got to medical school, our first class was biochem. And I just remember being so overwhelmed. I hadn't taken biochem since, a few years prior in the first place in undergrad. And then here it was in medical school being presented again. I was having to relearn the freaking Krebs cycle and all this stuff. And I just realized I don't know how to study. So I spent a ton of time rewriting notes, listening to lectures on repeat, trying to draw things out for myself. And needless to say, it just did not go as planned. I failed that first exam and it totally rocked my world. I really, I can't say that I didn't believe I was good enough to be in medical school. I did. I just was this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought. And I'm gonna have to totally change my study strategy. So I actually scheduled a consult with our learning specialist at my medical school because they provide, at least they're supposed to provide, pretty good feedback and help so that you can kind of get back on track, because we still had one more test left in this class. It was a 2 tests total for this class. And I think I got a 60 something. And so I could still pass the class. I just needed to get a good grade on the second test. And so I go to this learning specialist. I'm all ramped up, ready to, I've got my notepad. I'm she's going to tell me how to fix my whole life. And she looks at me and she's when you fail the class, you can just retake it over Christmas break. And I was just so how could you say that to me when I came in here ready to work and I can still pass the class? I still have the opportunity and the skills and dedication to get a better grade on the second test and pass the class. But she just did not believe in me at all. And so I very politely just told her thank you. I think I have enough information from this meeting. But I plan on passing the course, and I left. And so I had to change my study strategies. I had to completely change what I was doing. The biggest point I think from all of this is just that you cannot be afraid to change your study strategies. So I stopped all the passive stuff. I stopped rewatching lectures over and over and over again. I stopped clicking through PowerPoint slides. I stopped waiting to do practice questions until I felt I knew the material. I just started doing stuff. So one of the resources I used was Picmonic because it really made it easy to associate pictures with whatever I was trying to learn. And that was just an incredible resource. I still remember pictures from Picmonic for medications, for microbiology, for the circle of Willis. I can just see these pictures in my brain. So that was one really, really great resource. I started doing practice questions just right away. Even if I didn't know things, I would just get the practice questions wrong, and then I would learn from my mistakes, and then I would redo the practice questions. And then I would also use Anki. So any practice questions I did that I may have gotten wrong, or maybe I got right, but I didn't get it right for the right reasons, I would make an Anki card and just study those topics that I missed over and over and over again. And I think those kind of 3 things, so spaced repetition with flashcards, picture mnemonics with Picmonic, and a ton of practice questions, I passed that second test in biochem, and I passed the class. And from then on, I just was so focused on studying actively. And I think that's just really what you have to do in medical school. There's way too much information to try to study it all, and just to like try to rewrite all of your notes. And so knowing that it's okay to change what you did in undergrad, like what you did in undergrad is probably not going to work in medical school, and you just really have to focus on all of the high yield stuff and spend your time wisely, studying actively, not passively. Obviously there's like some component of passive learning when you're sitting in class, maybe hearing something for the first time, or if you're in the car and you listen to a lecture, because you might as well like use that time to re-listen to some stuff. But I would say that 90% of your time studying should be active studying. So anyways, I hope that story inspires some of you guys, that even if you have a hiccup, you can get it through it.